folks, it's me Michaela and welcome back to my channel. Long time no see, my apologies. I don't think I've posted a video in like 3 weeks at this point, and it's just because like April has been a wild month in good ways. Like it's just been mildly disastrous for my YouTube channel because it has just unfortunately become like lower priority, and it's been a transition from, like I now am working full-time, which means that a lot of my time is now spent in an office and not planning and editing and filming videos. And when I get home, sometimes I do this thing where when I'm leaving work, I'm like, oh, I'll like film something when I get home, and then I get home and I just like change out of looking cute, and then I go, well, no, I don't look cute, and then I don't film, and it's endless cycle that is kind of a problem when it comes to trying to keep this YouTube channel going, but we're working on it. I did try to film like a weekly reading vlog about like 2 weeks ago, but it was just like a really busy week for me, and like I hadn't filmed a weekly reading vlog before. I've only ever done like themed ones where I just film whenever I reach like a certain point in a book that I'm using for that vlog to talk about it. So I wasn't used to trying to do like daily check-ins, so I only had like 2 clips because I skipped, I didn't start it until Tuesday, and then I skipped a day and a bit, and then I forgot about it, and then I felt like, well, maybe I can extend it to be a 2-week vlog because this isn't really good at all, and then I just still didn't film things, so I guess that video is now trashed, and we're gonna try again. It's Sunday morning. We're gonna start another reading vlog for the week, and hopefully this one will be successful and you will actually see it and it will reach the light of day. Don't hold me to that because it might not happen. It might be that just weekly reading vlogs are not a thing for me, and I'm gonna have to do some more planning to rearrange my YouTube to figure out what will be best. But I'm hoping that I'll be able to do this, and this will probably come up the week after the week that it is, because I'm hoping to film my April reading wrap up, and that will be the video for Saturday. As much as I prefer to do reading vlogs over my sit down videos, the sit down videos are just way easier to handle at the moment, in the terms of that it's basically just the one clip and then editing. It's way less time consuming work that way. I'm probably going to be trying to find ways to do more of those, but in ways that I enjoy and I still find entertaining, because I personally like watching and making my reading vlogs more, but they're a lot more effort, so I'm probably gonna have to plan them out longer in advance. Before, I would film a video and post it in the same week, and I think I'm gonna have to probably give myself more time to get editing done and film things that are gonna be for weeks ahead and not the current week that I'm filming in, if that makes sense. Moving forward, that's at least the goal. We'll see. There we are. So let's actually talk about what I'm reading. Like I said, it is Sunday. Is it the morning still? Yes, it's still Sunday morning. I started yesterday Act Your Age, Eve Brown, and that was because I finished The Lost Hero, which is the first book in the Heroes of Olympus series by Riordan, which is the series that comes after the Percy Jackson series. So I decided I'd start reading that, and I really liked it. I gave it 4 stars. I found it interesting to have the 3 character perspectives instead of just having Percy in the previous one. Percy's not one of those perspectives. I just mean having 3 different character perspectives instead of 1 was interesting. I also liked how it was always 2 chapters of each and in the same rotation, so it was really well planned out to tell the story in that way. You always kind of knew whose perspective you're getting next, but it also meant that I don't know, the story just flowed nicely between the characters evenly. One wasn't more the main character than others. I liked the bit of added lore of the Roman side of mythology coming into it. I did find it was really obvious, it was supposed to kind of be what's going on? Wow. And the thing is that if you have a basic knowledge. You can kind of figure it out from the hints, but also like it's like a younger age YA novel, so I'm not gonna hold it against it. And also, like, if I was younger and I didn't know anything about Greek and Roman mythology and I read it, I probably would have been a bit more surprised. And it's nice when things are like actually hinted at that the reader that is targeted can figure it out. Like, you know, that's always fun, like when you're reading a mystery and you don't want it to be obvious, but like you like when you can figure it out yourself because you feel like a smarty pants. Lemon ginger tea is how I start my morning every day, and it's just like it's like my current obsession. I can't stop. Yeah, I really enjoyed that book. Only problem is that I was reading that through Libby on my library, and then I went to go put a hold on the what's the next one, the Son of Neptune or whatever it is, the second book in the Heroes of Olympus, and for some reason my library on Libby has all of the other books in the series but not that one. Explain it to me, it doesn't make sense. And then like my other library that I have on Libby has like the audiobook available, but I'm just like, I tried audiobooks. Audiobooks are not for me. When it's just audio, I tend to zone out and have my own thoughts, and I'm not paying attention. I miss a lot of things. I'm a physical reader, whether it be like an actual physical book or digital. I need to actually like see words. That's just the best way for my brain. I wish I was an audiobook person because the people who listen to audiobooks seem to be having a great time. I tend to just have to re-listen to a bunch of stuff because I start having like thoughts about my life, and then I go, oh yeah, I'm reading a book. I forgot. I don't know what I'm gonna do for that because now I've started this series and I don't know if I can read the second book without buying it, and I don't really know if I want to buy the books. So I'm kind of hoping that maybe it's just that like whatever, like I guess like contract or whatever, like for the ebook that my library has is just in like a turnover process, and then it'll be back. Fingers crossed for that, because otherwise I don't know what I'm gonna do because I want to read the series. I've said before how I want to read all of the Percy Jackson related Riordan books before the Chalice of the Gods, like the 6th Percy Jackson book is released in the fall. I mean, I'm probably not going to read them all before the fall, but I want to read them all before I read that, which is releasing in the fall, so that I don't read the 6th book and then have any spoilers. Like, I want to be fully informed about all of the story that's happened previously. And so now, you know, like that plan is really up in the air until I can decide on how I'm gonna read that, but that's fine. I have plenty of other books to read in the meantime. So like I said, then I started After Age Eve Brown because I also had my hold on that on Libby came through, and that is the 3rd book in the Brown Sisters kind of series by Talia Hibbert. And I was like a little concerned going into it because I wasn't a huge fan of Eve in the other 2 books, like in her small appearances, but I have to say, like, the setup for this I'm really loving it. I think it's really funny. I'm kind of liking the whole Grumpy Sunshine scenario that's happening so far. We'll see how it goes as I continue, but the previous 2 books in the series I gave 4 stars, so I have like pretty decent hopes of liking this. I'm also figuring out that I think I give like a lot of books 4 stars in my life. I feel like I just give 4 stars out maybe too easily. Do I rate things too positively? I mean, I feel like it's nicer to be a positive, you know, like to enjoy things more than dislike them, so like whatever, I won't think about it too much. But I'm liking it so far. I'm about I think I'm like 80 something pages into the ebook, but it's like, okay, this always gets me too because I read on my iPad, like the page count that shows up for ebooks on like Storygraph or Goodreads is like not what I'm actually reading because an iPad is obviously like bigger than a Kindle, so I'm like 80 pages into like a 300 page ebook and not into like a 400 page Kindle ebook, if that makes sense. Okay, anyway, I'm that far in, so like I've gotten to the basic premise. It's like done. I had a great time. It was funny, it was cute, it was like sometimes bridging on getting into cringy, but it didn't reach there for me, so I'm happy. And I'm also happy because this is the 3rd book in the series. Once I'm done reading this, I can check another series off of my reading list, so that's like super great. So my plans for the day, as it is Sunday, I'm gonna see if the weather continues to be nice-ish. It's supposed to start raining, I think, at any moment and then not stop until like Thursday, which I love. But if it is nice, I think I'll go for a walk. And then I also really want to paint my nails. I did like a super big deep clean. Like I'm talking like 5 hours of cleaning last week of my apartment for like, spring cleaning to like get a refresh. And it absolutely murdered my nails. All of my gel polish popped off, and then I actually like broke this nail, so then I had to cut them all down. And I just like didn't have the energy to paint them again this week. So I'm gonna paint those today because I just feel so much more put together when I have my nails done. And then also obviously I'm going to be reading, so that's the plan. Hopefully this reading vlog goes way better than my other ones have, and also hopefully my phone hasn't run out of storage and this video is there. So stay tuned for all of that. I will check in with you at the next update. Okay, bye. Hello, good morning. It is now Monday. I am eating some breakfast before I head to work for the day because it's a new week. Lovely. My fridge is deciding to turn on and be really noisy for this moment. Beautiful. We love it. I did end up finishing Actor Age Eve Brown. For some reason, I always get like the third and the first book, like they're like too close in my mind and in the way they're named. Like I never get the Take a Hint Danny Brown one confused, only the Get a Life and Actor Age one. Anyway, I finished it and I ended up giving it 4 stars like I think I gave the other 2. And it's because like overall I enjoyed the story. There were just like a few things that I didn't really enjoy, but it wasn't anything huge or long-term enough in the storyline to make me like dislike the book. It just wasn't like a perfect book for me. The main thing for me is that there was like near the end there was a whole third act breakup thing, and it didn't make me too mad because it resolved really quickly, but then also I feel kind of mad that it resolved so quickly because then what's even the point in it happening? Like literally like one chapter it's like happy, one chapter broken, one chapter resolved. It felt unnecessary. Like I don't really know exactly what it provided, especially since like earlier on in the book it felt like they had a similar kind of like conflict that could have given that aspect to a romance novel where like the couple has to kind of like overcome some kind of challenge, and it like helps show their character and their development and whatever and the strength of their relationship and things, or whatever the reason they put those in there. And in this one it just like didn't really feel required because I felt like it was so close to the end too. I was like, okay, yeah, that other thing that happened was the like conflict that happens in the third act, and now we're moving on and we're fine. And it wasn't, because it just came out of nowhere and hit me in the face, and I just like didn't really like that much. So yeah, I gave it like 4 stars. It was fine, it was great, it was funny. I'm discovering like the more contemporary romance I read, which is still not much contemporary romance, but I tend to read it very much lightheartedly. I don't really expect there to be a huge amount of meaning to it. I don't take it very seriously. I just kind of read it to have a good time. Like I look like for like rom-coms in those scenarios. I tend to rate them with that in mind. So I didn't expect some big serious relationship that seemed realistic because I was reading a rom-com, But it still gets me angry when there's just like unnecessary miscommunication that is resolved way too quickly, because it's like, why is this here? Why did you put this here? Anyway, that was fun. I'm really glad I finished it because I was kind of hoping I'd finish it in April, and I did. And now it's May. Oh my god. And I think I'm going to try and start the Lost Apothecary by, is it Sarah Penner? Is that the name? Anyway, it's just like a book that I put on hold on Libby because it's the same author as the London Seance Society. Is that the name of it? And that seemed interesting, and I was like, oh, let me read her other book. And I just kind of like put it on hold on Libby on a whim, and it came in, so now I'm like, oh well, I might as well read that, since it's here on my iPad. So I might start that during like my lunch break at work. We'll see. Stay tuned. I have in fact updated you 2 days in a row, so far this weekly vlog is going much better than the one before. Okay, see ya next time I see ya. Bye. Hello, good morning. It's Tuesday. 3 days in a row here with the reading vlog. We're doing so much better than last time. And I started The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner yesterday, and I'm just around 80 pages into it right now. I am liking it so far. I'm finding it interesting, this idea of this woman in like the 1790s just like helping other women murder their husbands and stuff. Cool concept. I have to say, I think the only thing that I'm not really like having a great time with is the dual timeline, because there's like the historical timeline where you're following like the apothecary poisoning people, and then there's like this present day timeline of this woman Caroline who's like in London because she's supposed to be on her anniversary, like her 10th anniversary trip, but she found out like the day before that her husband was cheating on her, and now she's all like on a life reset mission, going through a lot, which is fine. But the thing is that I just like don't really care about that timeline. Like I want to go back to the other one. I find that one more interesting. And then the thing is that like, you know, that they're going to be like connected in this way. It makes whatever is happening in like the Caroline timeline kind of boring, because she finds something that when she finds it, you already know it's clearly linked to this apothecary. One, because the story told you, and two, because there's two timelines in the story, so obviously they're going to be connected, because otherwise the story is not going to make any freaking sense, right? Like, it'd be illogical to have two timelines in a story that are not connected at all. So I kind of am just like, at this point, I don't really understand the purpose of the present day timeline, but I'm open. Like, I'm not hating it. Right now I'm saying it's like a 3-star, you know, like it's intriguing, but I'm not dying to know. I'm having like a good time. I'm not having a great time. Like every time I'm reading a Caroline chapter, I'm kind of just waiting to get to the next past timeline chapter, because those ones are more interesting to me. Maybe that will change as I read some more, because I am only like a third into it, so there's still like plenty of book left. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I'll let you know when I read more. Probably will be at the breakfast table again tomorrow, because that seems to be what I'm doing. Bye. Hello, hi. It is Wednesday morning. This vlog is really turning into just me sitting in the exact same place in a different outfit every day. We have the light on today because it is so very dark and gloomy outside. It is the 3rd day in a row that it has been raining when I need to go to work. And I'm just really sick and tired of walking to work in the rain. I don't want to do it anymore. So if the rain could stop, or like only rain when I'm at work or at home, like then I would appreciate that very much. Thank you. But that's not my reality. Anyway, eating the same breakfast I eat every day because I'm a creature of habit. I did read a little bit more of The Lost Apothecary, but not like too much. I want to say like maybe like 20 pages or so, like 3 or 4 chapters. The chapters are pretty short. Even with the chapters being that short, if I read through at least 3 chapters, it's probably closer to 30 pages than 20. But still, I haven't read too much. And I think my main issue with this is the dual timeline, because like I said before, I'm not super interested in what's happening to Caroline. Like, I'm sorry, Caroline, but I kind of don't care. Not to mention that, like, the present day storyline with Caroline is just giving us basically the same hints of where the story is going as the, like, historical timeline. I don't really feel like we're gaining anything from it, and it feels like, anyway, the point of the present day timeline isn't to be its own timeline with its own story, but more so to feed the historical timeline, which means that every time I'm reading the present day stuff, I'm kind of just like waiting for it to be over to get back to the historical. And then also, because it's jumping back and forth, it makes it hard to really feel like you're diving into this historical story with the apothecary Nella, because you keep getting pulled out of it every 2 or 3 chapters to be with Caroline again as she tries to research basically the apothecary that is the other part of the story. So it's not that I don't like it, I just feel like those aspects of the story are not, it's not really doing the story justice, and I feel like it's kind of just like, ooh, dual timeline, because people like dual timelines, you know? Like, it's a marketing, I guess, isn't really the thing, but like, you know, like it is, oh, there's a piece of fluff on me. It is something that people look for, like, and that sometimes that people enjoy. So, you know, it's something that, like, if somebody hears there's a dual timeline, they like dual timelines, and they might now be interested in this book when they weren't before. And I just feel like it's not serving the story as much as I think was attempted. Again, I'm still liking it. I'm saying it's like 3 to 3.5 stars. It's an enjoyable story. It is intriguing. I just feel like the dual timeline of adding the present day story to it isn't doing the story justice, at least not so far in the book. There we have it. I'm gonna keep eating my scrambled eggs and then head to work. And I guess I'll see you tomorrow. Same place, same time. Hello, good morning. It is Friday now. I didn't check in with you yesterday morning because I really didn't read much, so I didn't really have a lot to say, so it felt kind of pointless. And then I ended up filming my April wrap up yesterday evening, so I also like just totally forgot to do a check-in before I went to bed last night. But I did read some more this morning, and I have to say that I'm getting like really close to like the climax and the conclusion, and I really hated having to put it down in order to get ready for work, which is upsetting. It is getting quite good. Even the Caroline story. I know I was like, Caroline, you're bringing it down. But I'll have to say, when the Caroline like story that I don't really care about has an kind of like climax, while the story I'm actually excited about is also having climax, it's not too bad. There was a couple cliffhangers that with the Caroline one where I was like, ooh, what is gonna happen? But also then it kind of wasn't shocking what happened. I just kind of wanted to read what I thought would happen. Anyway, I'm gonna probably finish it later tonight, but I am going to a friend's recital after work, so I might not check in until tomorrow morning about finishing the book, and then we'll see what book I'm going to be reading over the weekend. So yeah, I am running a bit late today, so I really have to go, but that's all I have to say. I will talk more when I finish the book. Okay? Bye. Hello, welcome to my balcony. I was editing my April reading wrap-up yesterday. That went up today, Saturday. That's there if you want to see that. I talked about what I read in April. And then this morning I actually went shopping to get some new clothes for work, so that was fun. And then I finished reading The Lost Apothecary. I ended up giving it 3.5 stars. I did feel like in the end that it kind of clued up in a way that was expected, kind of like overall, especially with like the present day timeline. But there were some things that like threw me for a little loop throughout the whole last like 50-60 pages of it, which were enjoyable. And I did feel like in that last third of the book that the Caroline present day story did have a little bit more presence and importance than during like the first 2/3. I did end up giving it 3.5. I was kind of debating to give whether to give it like a 3 or 3.5. If I had to just give it like a straight star rating though, like it would be a 3. Like on Goodreads I rated it a 3 because like it wasn't good enough 3.5 to like give it a 4 on Goodreads, you know? But my official rating is a 3.5. That is the truth. So I did think I was going to start reading Eldest next, and that starting Eldest would be like the beginning of my next weekly vlog, and like I'd cut this vlog off here as it is Saturday, and I'm thinking I'd start another one tomorrow as it's Sunday. But I did actually get a Libby loan in for, what is it Blood Marked? It's the sequel, the second book to Legendborn by Tracy Dion, and I did do a whole reading vlog about Legendborn where it really was like an absolute whirlwind ride. Honestly, like I talked so much about that book, completely spoiler filled, but I talk a lot about that book in this vlog. I'll like link it somewhere in case you want to watch that. And so since that came in, I think I might read that next, because then once I do, I'll be like caught up in that series as well, and I'll be able to like tick that off of my currently reading series list as up to date, because I think there's going to be more books in that series. I don't think it's a duology, but there is only 2 books out as far as I know, so I think that will be like my next read. And then after that I'll read Eldest, and I'm assuming that's probably going to be like the 2 books in next week's vlog. So if you want to hear my thoughts on those 2 books, make sure to come back next week to see my thoughts on those while I'm reading them. But I'm going to be ending this video here. I hope this was like mildly enjoyable. This is my first time doing this kind of like weekly reading vlog scenario, and I really don't do like b-roll or like vlog about my life. This is why I shouldn't film outside, because this is like my booktube channel. I really like to just talk about books. I like having a bit of privacy in my life, so I don't want to show you everything I do. I do talk a fair amount about my life and what's going on, so hopefully that's like entertaining enough. I'm assuming you're just here to hear what I think about books anyway. The channel is called Michaela Christine Reads, so I feel like that is expected when you show up here. Let me know your thoughts on this vlog. Let me know like what you like about it, what you'd like to see in them, and I'll see what I can do to appease the masses. But yeah, if you like this video, make sure to give it a like, give it a thumbs up, and if you happen like me, consider subscribing. I'd be happy to have you, and I will see you in the next one. And there are so many cards in my number. Why did I film outside at like 5 p.m. on Saturday? Okay, I'm a dummy. Hope you're having a wonderful day today. Bye.